Thank you for tuning in to any of our videos. We also want to just ask your forgiveness if anything in this comes off offensive or abrasive. It is not our intent to cause division. What we would like you to do is enter into just a relationship as a believer with us, knowing that we're as much of a work in progress as you are, and that you would continue to pray for Nehemiah Abilene. So look, it's the creature, the comforts, right? We're used to going to things for comfort. We lean on our gifts to get people to give us cigarettes. We get people laughing and buying into that I care about you so that you can share your stuff with me. And then I'm gonna do some favors for you so that you do some favors for me. I've known Dale for a long time. A long time. I saw him laughing with you the other day and I was like, oh shit, there goes that man's cigarettes. Because listen, if you can't, you got to get to a place where you're saying, you know what? I'll give up sugar. I want to live. Like when you come in the first 3 days, you don't want to live anymore sometimes. But then it's got to go to a place where you say, I want to live. And if things you're doing are directly, just like Willie Brown, it's crazy that that's who he's taught to, because he's dying and won't quit smoking. Dying. Months to live. Just a few months to live. Literally, I walked into a hospital room where they were planning, they told me to come up there because he's going to die that night. They pulled him off the machines. And I went up there, we planned his funeral, we prayed a simple prayer, and the next morning he left the hospital. And then again, had to get his heart failed again, had to get a pacemaker put in, got better. Then again, won't quit smoking. Now he's got leukemia. And then he goes, and then again, God keeps saving his life, and he won't. And then he refuses to quit smoking, which would extend his life by years. They've told him that. You're killing yourself with cigarettes. You refuse to quit smoking, you're going to die. Same thing with Dale. 5 years ago, he didn't have type 2 diabetes. Every time he comes in, he gets worse. This is the deal. We have an option. We have the ability. We can say, if it's the smoking, if I'm going to get frustrated and run out of a place that's trying to save my life because I don't have a cigarette, you might want to quit smoking. Now, I'm not trying to say quit smoking to be a good boy. I'm just saying, if that's what's going to push you out the door, you're already dead. If a honey bun is going to push you out the door, you're already dead. Go die. I'll do your funeral. I'll pray for all your family when I do it. And somebody's life will be saved. That's what it's going to look like. Man, for God's hand to be on somebody and keep bringing them back and keep bringing them back and keep bringing them back, and then over a cigarette or a honey bun or whatever it is that we do to ourselves. Listen, whatever his frustration is, he did it to himself. Whatever your frustration is, you've done it to yourself. You brought you here. Your actions, your decisions, didn't nobody do it but you, and if you haven't got to the point to own your own stuff, then we're not going to make any progress anyway. Hopefully, whenever you get to really working the steps in phase 2 with your sponsor, you'll get to a place where you identify who the root of the problem is. I didn't have a RICO problem. I had a lead problem. I didn't have a problem with the dude that molested me. I had a lead problem. I began to hate myself. You don't understand that until you really get to a place where you can take a look and say, I became all these things because I refused to be that person that was a victim. That I refused to be that person that was hurt. So I would do everything to hurt everyone else so that nobody would ever see that little boy. But the reality is I've always been just that little boy. Until I was healed. And then now I'm learning how to care about people. Now I'm learning how. So it's those things. Kind of ties in, I guess, what we're talking about. What we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about faith and works. And what it looks like, right? I feel like in a big way, God's like put it on me to give you more of the how-to. I want to clarify something right now. Whenever it says, can faith say, what does it profit my brethren if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? Yeah. We are saved by faith through grace. But this is what I'll say. I want to say on the front end of this, and then we're going to dive deeper into it with those other scriptures, is this. If there aren't the manifested presence of Jesus, which feeds the hungry, cares for the widow, cares for the orphan, blind are seeing, deaf are hearing, captives are set free, then do I really have faith? That's the question. If I have faith, but there's no manifestation of that belief reflected in the image of Jesus Christ, does that make sense? I can say I have faith, but if I don't start looking for Jesus, is it real? Because listen, my faith is going to bear fruit. My faith is going to produce fruit. The fruit that's produced is the works. Not all the time, but it'll give me a desire to. It'll give me a desire to encourage. It'll give me a desire to go and speak. It'll give me a desire to break that dude off at the corner, that's begging for money and not care what he's going to do with it. Does that make sense? So I just want to clarify in there, because for me early on that was very confusing. Because I'm like, wait a second. I thought we were faith through grace. So faith is what saves me. The only thing that God requires is that I believe. Like literally the only thing that God requires of me in this life is that I would believe.
But it's like you said, isn't it? Like if you have faith and if you do believe, then obviously things are going to change.
That's what we're going to dive into. Keep going. If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things that are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Dead faith. And I want to explain this just for a second. Listen, it's one thing for us to say, man, we want to see revival. Man, we want to see the miraculous. Man, we want to see these things. And then somebody come out, listen, if I have, God will put money in my pocket sometimes. A little bit of money, not a bunch of money, but he'll put it in my pocket and I don't ever have nothing to spend it on. Personally, like that's one of the things that I think it's actually a gift. Like there's nothing bouncing around my head like I wish I could buy this. It happened for years. And so literally God will put a little money in my pocket and then lo and behold, somebody will start just talking to me and they're like, yeah, and this, and I'm really, my wife and I just wish we had some time together and we've just been busy or whatever. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, man, can I pour into your marriage? And they're like, what do you mean? I got given this $100. I've done it, and I'm not boasting in that. I'm just, because it wasn't my 100. It was literally God entrusted me, somebody who put on their heart to give to me, but I ain't got nothing to spend it on. And then this guy comes up and he's talking about his marriage, which we as believers say that we want, right? Faith without works is dead. But if I'm willing to say, here you go, let me invest in your marriage. Let me invest in you having a date. Does that make sense? Like the guy that comes up and says, I'm hungry and I'm cold, and you don't give him nothing. It's like if Malcolm was hanging out back and I know he's hungry, but we don't offer him food at mealtime. We wouldn't even believe what we say we believe. Does that make sense? You've got to really choose to believe what you say you believe.